when those cars are ready to go out on the speedway and make a few laps, they'll come out between these two solid yellow lines as we are, but they'll have to make a stop right here on our left-hand side at technical inspection. Now down in the very far end of that bay, there's 4 metal grates built into the floor, and that's part of our new computerized weighing system. And with those new scales, we can come up to within 1 ounce of a driver or race car's actual weight. On our right-hand side here, this 2-story building is the Goodyear Building, and inside of those garage doors on the ground floor is where all the tires that are used out here at the Speedway are mounted. Back to our left-hand side is the Unical 76 station, and Unical 76 is the official fuel of NASCAR. Now those octane stickers on the pumps there read 100 and 108 octane, and they're actually outdated. What we're using out here now is 103 and 110 octane. Right here you can see the big MRN truck just came in from Bristol. It was up there yesterday. And this building on our left-hand side here is the MRN building, home of the Motor Racing Network, the official voice of NASCAR. It's inside that building that Eli Gold broadcast his weekly NASCAR live show on Tuesday nights at 7:30. Now behind the MRN building there you can see some open garage areas, and where you see those ambulances parked, you'll be able to pick out garage space number 55 and 56. Now it's inside there that the race officials hold the post-race conferences with the drivers before and after each event run here at the Speedway. Also to your left through gate 127 you can see some more of those open garages, and these are used by the Busch Grand National cars, the ARCA cars, and the Daytona Dash cars. Now all in all at the Speedway here we can house 164 race cars at one time. To our right-hand side, on the top of this building, you'll see that big glassed-in area up there. We hold ourselves totally responsible for the care and upkeep of this facility, and those are the guys that do all the work out here, the guys that work in Daytona maintenance. Not only do they do all the painting and repair work, but they're also the ones that have to dispose of all the trash and garbage. The left-hand side is seating for the press and news media. The next area of glass immediately below there are the VIP suites. They're rented out by the major corporations that come to town for the races. As we come out on pit road here, if you'll take a look to your right-hand side down there, you'll see a Unical 76 sign. That Unical sign there marks the entrance to pit road. Now if you'll look back to your left, way down there, you'll see an identical sign. That one marks the exit from pit road. The distance along pit road, we have spaces for 42 cars. And with the running of the Daytona 500 this year, 2 of those cars, the cars of Hut Strickland, and he'll be in contact with the race officials up there in the Winston Tower. They'll tell him which flag to display on the racetrack, depending on the condition of the racing surface. Also from the end in Daytona, you can see the yellow International Speedway there. It probably looked like a big spot, but by looking back there today, you can tell it's not that big at all. And as tight as it might look down there to you right now, folks, imagine how much tighter it gets once we put the winning car, the winning driver, the winning owner, the winning pit crew, the winning driver's family, the winning sponsors.
Down there's Jeff Gordon's spot right down there.
All vehicles coming out of the pits have to stay to the left of that line, as we're doing right now, until they get up in turn number 1, and then they can blend back in with the rest of the field. Here at Daytona International Speedway, we have 2 ways that we go racing. The NASCAR Winston Cup cars, the Busch Grand National cars, the Daytona Dash cars, the ARCA cars, and the IROC car, which is on our left-hand side back there. And down in the west end of the Speedway, they go through another horseshoe turn. When they come out of that turn, they'll head back up our way, and they'll exit our infield road course right here. Our infield road course is 3.56 miles. To the right-hand side of the tram there, you can see an orange Unical 76 ball. That's one of 4 that we have situated around the racetrack. That particular ball there marks the entrance into turn number 1. Now if you look to your left-hand side, way over there across the infield in the trees, you'll see the second Unical 76 ball. And that one over there marks the exit from turn number. Just there on the right-hand side of the tram, you can see a broken white line running along. That's what's called the Apron Line. The portion of the racetrack that we're riding. And during a race, that 10-foot groove up there will fill up with sand, dirt, or little pieces of rubber off the car and other debris. Most of the time, if you see a driver up there during a race, he's in a spot he doesn't want to be in, and he's probably going to wind up leaving us a little mark on that outside retaining wall. Now, one of the most asked questions we have here at the Speedway is how fast do you have to go to make it into your turn, stay up on the banking, and get out the other side? The answer to that question is you have to be traveling at least 70 miles an hour or faster. Now, folks wonder why we have a big lake in the middle of the racetrack, and I'd like to show you this morning exactly why. If you would, take a look to the right-hand side of the tram. What you're looking at is the bottom of Lake Lloyd. When Bill France came here in the 50s and he found this big piece of land and decided to build this high bank super speedway, it's down here for a fishing tournament. Last summer during one of these tournaments, one of those lucky participants reeled in a 10.5-pound largemouth bass. The only problem I have with telling you that story is that I'm not the big mouth that reeled in the largemouth, and believe me, I get plenty of practice at both of them. Now on our right-hand side, you'll see that second Unical 76 ball, and that marks the exit from turn 2 and the beginning of the backstretch. I'm going to make a little jog here, and as I do, look out the right-hand side of the tram, way down there in those trees. You'll see that third Unical 76 ball. Now the distance between these two Unical balls and the total distance of our backstretch is 3,600 feet. The backstretch is banked at about 6 degrees, as you'll see as I pull back up here next to the retaining wall. And the banking was built into the backstretch primarily to aid in the runoff of any moisture that might accumulate at the bottom of that white retaining wall right there on the racetrack. You'll see all those little pieces of black stuff down there. That's actually rubber off of the racing tires. When those tires heat up, they'll spit off rubber, and that's where it winds up, is up against that retaining wall. Now to our right-hand side, you see the tiny Lund grandstands. All the grandstands around the speedway are named after race drivers. Now back on our left-hand side there, you get a little bit better view of the grandstands along the front stretch. And those grandstands stretch 5/8 of a mile. In them we can seat 108,000 race fans. Also, you'll notice that right next door to the Winston Tower there, we're doing some construction. What we're doing up there is putting in 2,200 more reserve seats, a few more VIP boxes. Back in 1985, we had a gentleman come to Daytona International Speedway, and he set the one-lap qualifying mark that day that still stands today. That gentleman's name was Bill Elliott, and I'm sure a lot of you know him better as Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Well, on that day in '85, Bill was, and that's pretty good. But I'd like to show you how fast these cars come down our backstretch here. If you look to your left-hand side there by that Unical 76 ball, you'll see a white line running across the speedway. That's called the speed line, because when he came across that white speed line, that NASCAR official clocked him at 238 miles an hour. That's what we like to call smoking at Daytona. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take you up on 3 and 4 right now, but unfortunately we can't go up there the way the race cars go. Remember I told you have to be doing 70 miles an hour or faster. 3 days we had a film crew out here filming, and they were filming some segments for a new TV pilot that's coming out called Daytona Beach. That television show is going to be produced by the same producers of the television show Baywatch, so make sure you watch your TV guides for that coming up in the future. Now where you're standing right now is 4 stories above that green grass. Also, if you look on the inside of those guardrails, you'll be able to notice that there's a ditch running around this turn on the inside. As I told you before, the only way to get up here in this area is by taking a tour now. So if you were standing up here during a race, not only do you run the risk of getting rubber in your eye or sand all over you, but if there was any metal in that top groove, it would also come over that retaining wall, and you could get hurt kind of bad. Now, if you've ever been to the Speedway before, or if you've watched a lot of races from Daytona on television, something might look a little bit different to you out here, and you're exactly right, there is a difference. After the running of the Pepsi 400 last July, we set up Daytona USA is going to be the ultimate motorsports attraction, and it's going to be a hands-on kind of a place. You'll be able to go in there, they'll have a Winston Cup car, they'll give you some air guns, some tires, and let you make a pit stop on one of those cars. There'll also be another spot in there where you can go in and announce a race and take a tape home for your family and friends. There'll be another spot in there where you can go in and, using a computer, set up a race car, and through the use of virtual reality, you'll be able to take it out on a speedway and test it.